You ever notice how workers spend a lot of time arguing with each other, but somehow nothing ever actually changes? Last week I talked about an argument I got into online and how it made me realize something. We might be fighting the wrong fight. But the more I thought about it, the more I started asking a bigger question. What actually happens when workers stay divided? Because right now, everything feels divided. Union versus non-union, red versus blue, public versus private. Everybody's got a side. And if you have a side, or you don't, make sure to like, follow, and share this video before we get going. You might just find that we agree on more than you realize. This is Labor Lines with Alex, and now is the time to get after it. So let's get after it. If you spend enough time online, it starts to make you feel like you're supposed to pick a side and defend it like your life depends on it. But most people on a job site aren't thinking like that. They're thinking about real life, like bills, groceries, providing for their family, or trying to make it through the week without something breaking they can't afford to fix. That's the reality most workers are living in. And here's where this starts to matter, because when workers are divided, their leverage gets weaker. And when leverage gets weaker, things start to change. Wages stop keeping up, standards start slipping, opportunities get harder to find. And this doesn't happen all at once, or overnight for that matter. It happens slowly, because the system doesn't have to respond the same way when workers aren't aligned. And that's not about blaming one group or another. That's just how leverage works. Now, think about what we talked about last week. In some cases, when companies reduce costs, those costs don't just disappear. They get pushed somewhere else, sometimes onto the taxpayer. You've got companies receiving subsidies, tax incentives, while at the same time, some workers are relying on public assistance just to get by. So think about that for a second. Workers arguing with each other about unions and politics and who's right or wrong and cats versus dogs, while both sides are living under the same economic pressure. And in some cases, helping support the same system they're frustrated with. That's where this conversation starts to shift, because at that point, it's not really workers versus workers anymore. It's workers trying to navigate a system that doesn't always feel like it's working for them. And the truth is, most workers aren't each other's problem. They're dealing with the same things like rising cost or uncertainty and pressure to make it all work. But the difference is, we've been told to look at each other as the reason things aren't working. You're the problem. No, you're the problem. No, you're the problem. No, I'm the problem. No, cats versus dogs are the problem. Instead of asking the bigger questions like, how's the system set up and who benefits when wages fall? Or who benefits when standards weaken? How about who benefits when workers stay divided? Because history shows something pretty clearly. When workers are divided, the system doesn't have to change. And that's why this matters. Not because everyone needs to agree on everything, that's never going to happen, but because understanding how the system works is more important than winning a stupid argument. This was never supposed to be workers versus workers. It was supposed to be workers understanding the environment they're operating in and deciding what they're willing to accept. Because until that happens, the arguments won't change. Neither will the outcome. So maybe the next time you find yourself in one of those arguments, online or otherwise, it's worth asking a different question, not who's right, but who benefits from us being divided. Because while we fight each other, somebody's laughing all the way to the bank, and guess what? It's not working families. Before we go, make sure to hit that follow button. There's plenty more working class content coming up. And don't forget, we learn best by shared experience, so keep those comments coming. This is Labor Lines with Alex. As always, my good friends, be safe, be productive, be well.